It opened on the plane and the air pressure pushed me back. When I looked outside, I saw only a combination of green and brown. My legs hung from the edge of a small plane at an altitude of 14,000 feet. The coach pointed at me, "Are you ready?" I shouted in the wind, "I hope our umbrella opens," and my real story started from here. Weightlessness. This is all the feeling you have after jumping from a plane at altitude. Your body is falling freely, the plane disappears above your head and the sound of a strong wind blows in your ear. You feel your heart coming out of your chest and the adrenaline that is released in your body makes you feel nothing but excitement. By age 22, it was the best birthday present I had ever received. The coach then held out his hand to the parachute button to prevent us from falling, but nothing happened. I felt the parachute open, but it was not strong enough. I noticed that we were still falling, and when I looked to both sides I saw that the coach's hands were still open. I turned my head hard and looked back and saw a crumpled parachute swaying in the wind. I could feel the coach's horror even in that strong wind, and it was clear that he was trying behind me. The adrenaline in my body was quickly replaced by fear. I prayed that the problem of everything would be solved by itself, or that this short and real story and everything would stop. Now we were spinning like a washing machine, out of control and falling to the ground faster. One of my shoes was off. I still hoped that coach could somehow save us from this situation. I saw his hand on the second parachute and pulled it tight. Our last hope was lost. The second umbrella, which was supposed to save us, worked like the first and was now crumpled. As I stared at the ground and saw that it was approaching us faster and faster every moment, I realized that we could not do anything. I knew we would hit the ground hard and our bodies would break. The sound of a parachute waving bothered me. I was thinking about my family's reaction when they lost a loved one in a terrible accident right in front of their eyes. And then, strike. Very soon, a feeling of intense and unbearable pain filled my whole body. I tried to breathe hard. I tried to move my legs, but I could not. I could not feel them. Fortunately, my fingers still felt, and I was able to slowly remove the parachute that was on my head. I noticed that fortunately we landed by the lake and my feet were in the water. I nodded a little, realizing I was still connected to my coach. His face was bruised, but he seemed to be still breathing. I'm not sure, but I think that moment of guilt made me feel responsible for the man's life and true story. I tried to push it. I tried to shout, "Please stay alive, wake up." He slowly opened his eyes with a groan of pain. I tried to ask him if he was fine, but it was very difficult, and he was in a lot of pain to say every word. It was not easy for both of us to talk, and we could hardly move, but we were still alive. The sound of footsteps and people shouting could be heard in the distance. The three strangers quickly got out of their car and separated us. I did not know them, but one could guess from their clothes and the ground around us that we had landed on the golf course. Yahoo! I heard people calling my name. I tried to look at them, but I could not move my neck. My family had run all the way from the airport runway to there and witnessed all the accidents. While I was moaning in severe pain, I was taken to the back of the ambulance, and the only sound I could hear was my mother screaming. I had a strange feeling, smells, sounds, people working in a hurry. Where was I? Was this real? I felt like I was looking at myself in a movie scene. Lights, syringes and tubes attached to me. I was in the hospital. I felt a pain that I think I had never experienced. Then I heard a nurse say, "Parachute accident." I went back to the real world. I was shocked by the recollection of what had happened in the real story. I looked to the left, my parents telling me everything was fine while holding hands. To my right was a nurse talking, and I was trying to figure out what she was saying. She was examining my wounds, and I heard her say that his spine and neck were broken and his ribs were damaged. My mind went to the coach. I said to myself, where is he now? How is he? I'd like to think that he is alive and well. I was lying in complete darkness, hearing horns, snoring, and moaning. I later found out that the sound of the horn from the mounting device was a vital sign, and the sound of moans was my own. I was in torment. My body was burning, my back was in severe pain. The worst thing that night was the endless pictures. Every time I closed my eyes, I remembered everything that had happened the day before. The feeling of falling, the sound of the wind, the horror of the coach who was trying to open the parachute, and the ground that was approaching us. The images were so clear that I forgot where I was and woke up again in the dark room. I was very annoyed and asked the nurses to give me more housing, but they refused. My recovery period took 4 months, hard and painful, but that was my least concern. People who saw me said, "Wow, you recovered completely and were in good shape or very lucky." But I was not well. I was not well. People did not know what was going on inside me, they just saw my appearance. I felt depressed, my soul had not yet recovered, and I could not believe my true story. I mostly sat alone in my room and did not go out. I had separated myself from my family members and shouted at them to let me go. I did not want to see my friends and I had lost touch with all of them. I had become a completely isolated person. My depression was a big shock to those who knew me. I was an extrovert who never saw me without a smile. When those around me realized I was depressed, they just said, "Be happy again," as if there was a key to it. But it was not so easy. I felt tired, helpless and upset. I lay in bed all day, my despair filled me. I tried to suffer less with strong painkillers. Feelings of guilt and fear were wrapped around me like a suffocating blanket, and I could not get rid of it. Most of the time I was sick, I was tired of breathing, fear and annoying pain. I decided to finish everything. I hated living and I did not want to be alive for another second. I used to have a happy life and I was a lively person, but now what have I become? I knew my family would be ruined, but I thought it was better not to be alive than to live with these problems. I was just making trouble for them. That was when I remembered that day again and felt guilty. My family saw everything and they were very shocked. They stayed by my side and spent all these stages with me. How could I hurt them again? It may be funny, but it was YouTube that motivated me to change my life. I started finding people like my true story, talking about their experiences. It was so exciting to see that I was not alone. I now saw people surviving everything that had happened to them. I was involved in rehabilitation and therapy for years. I lived with pain, mistakes and failure for years. But I was motivated. I was motivated to one day share my true story with others and motivate them. Just like myself, I decided to go back to life, have a goal, and move on. We must respect the life given to us and live the best way because we do not know what awaits us. I never thought I could become who I am today. I am becoming the same happy and energetic person again. And I can say that I am the one who lived life to the fullest.